Shalom Israel, this is your brother Shalom back again, giving all thanks to the Most High Yahweh and his beloved Son Yahweh Shai. Today is Friday, July 31st, 2020. And right now, I got this little article on the screen and from the CNS News, and it seems like a victory, you know, from a, a victory from Donald Trump, but it's really a victory for the citizens if this law, if this executive order actually goes into effect. And it reads, Trump says executive order will drop the price of insulin down to pennies a day. CNS News, and it's from the 24th of this month. President Donald Trump signed 4 executive orders on Friday aimed at lowering the cost of prescription drugs, the first of which he says will lead to the cost of insulin dropping to just pennies a day. The 4 orders I'm signing today will be on the prescription drug market in terms of pricing and everything else to make these medications affordable and accessible for all Americans. The first order will require federal community health centers to pass the giant discounts they are receiving from drug companies on insulin and EpiPens directly to their patients. So that's the goal of the executive order for Trump. That a lot of the discounts that big pharma is getting for their medicine, that they pass on the discounts towards their citizens. I say, insulin became so expensive, people weren't able to use it. They desperately needed it, he said. We have it to a level that you're not going to believe. EpiPens, which is another thing that a lot of our folks need. You know what I'm saying? EpiPens is for folks that might have allergic reaction to certain things, food allergies, like bee stings and stuff like that. There's a lot of our people out there that have nut allergies, so they can't eat peanuts, walnuts, none of that. So God forbid they eat something, you know, unbeknownst to them, that have nut in it. You know what I'm saying? That the throat could swell up. It may be hard for them to breathe, and stuff like EpiPens could be a life or death situation for them. Having an EpiPen available could be a life or death situation for them. You understand what I'm saying? So, we said likewise, EpiPens. Likewise, you have been heard horrible stories about EpiPens over the last 6 or 7 years. Horrible, horrible, horrible increases for when they were almost nothing to massive amounts of money. We're changing that right now, the president said. And he's absolutely right. I remember there was a story a few years ago, several years ago, where somebody, where EpiPens was like dirt cheap. And then after somebody took, became the head or got some kind of high position in one of these big pharma companies or something like that, or have a high stock or something like that, the price of the EpiPens just shot up overnight. You understand what I'm saying? Again, EpiPens are a life or death situation for a lot of folks that got food allergies. You know what I'm saying? Shrimp, shellfish, which you shouldn't be eating anyway. But people got wheat allergies, egg allergies. You know what I'm saying? Milk allergies, nut allergies. You know what I'm saying? Bee stings. These stuff could be life or death. You know, EpiPens, just like insulin, it's a life or death situation, man. A lot of people that have diabetes, they need insulin to survive. In case the sugar gets out of whack or whatever, they need that to survive. They need that to regulate their blood sugar. Or listen, they could mess around and get into a diabetic coma. Go on a shot, go into a diabetic coma, you're done. And with the way things are going right now, it's very important that you know that our people have access to get multiple um, multiple EpiPens or multiple insulins, what I'm saying, for just in case, there was to be a blackout, the shit hit the fan, what I'm saying, a EMP attack, so on and so forth, that they would have their medicine, what I'm saying, to sustain them. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely see this as a plus. Let's read on. These providers should not be receiving discounts for themselves while charging their poorest patients massive full prices. And I completely agree, man. I completely agree. They're really beating people over the head for medicines that they need for survive. But again, that's how these big pharma companies work. Under this order, the price of insulin for affected patients will come down to just pennies a day. Pennies a day from numbers that you weren't even able to think about. It's a massive cost savings, Trump added. The second executive order will allow states, wholesalers, and pharmacies to do something other politicians have promised for decades and decades but never done. Allow the safe and legal importation of prescription drugs from Canada and other countries where the price for the initial drug is incredibly lower. And that's another thing. A lot of these big pharma companies in the US, they're beating their citizens over the head, with high inflated prices for medicines that they so desperately need. And other countries that sell the same medicine, like Canada and Mexico, you get those same medicines for dirt cheap. You know what I'm saying? And it worked just as well. So let's read on. It's a difference like you would not believe. 70%, 80%, 90%, 30%, but massively lower than the identical drug made in the same plant, same factory, same exact drug, same everything, same box, same pill, and yet it's 50, 60, 70% lower, the president said. Like I just said, man, like some of these same distributors, like say in Canada, Mexico, that sell the same medicine that was made in the U.S., same box, same ingredients and everything. In Canada, Mexico, and other countries, they're selling it for dirt cheap, while big pharma in the U.S., they're beating their citizens over the head, charging all kinds of inflated prices, man. That shit is an abomination. He said Americans pay on average 3 times more for medicine than Canadians. See that? Come on, that's wicked as hell, man. Many people go to Canada. I see it all the time. They go to Canada to buy drugs and then they come back. Prescription drugs because they save so much money. The trip is well worth it. The Obama Biden administration pledged to end this unfairness, allow drug importation, but they never got it done. They weren't able to get it done. They didn't get a lot of things done. But under my administration, we are standing up to the lobbyists and special interests and fighting back against a rigged system. A rigged system, Trump said. The third executive order cuts out the middleman who are bilking Medicare patients with high drug prices while they pocket gigantic discounts, the president said. The fourth and final order I have signed today is the granddaddy of them all, Trump said. and will end global freeloading on the backs of American patients and American seniors. For decades, our citizens have paid the highest price for drugs, prescription drugs, anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. Foreign nations have paid vastly less for the same exact drug, again, and the same exact box for from the same exact plant, from the same exact company. They pay 10, 20, 30%. What our people are paying a pill that will sell for $1 in certain countries, the president said. And see, he's absolutely right, man. A lot of these, big pharma industries, pharmaceutical industries, the middleman jack up the prices so damn high that again, a lot of our people are struggling to get these life-saving meds. Again, these are life-saving medicine. If a person has diabetes and they can't get their treatment in time, they mess around, they go into shock, and go into a diabetic coma. You know what I'm saying? You could die from that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody eats something that they wasn't supposed to by accident. You know what I'm saying? Their throat swell up, face start itching, so on and so forth. They need that EpiPen to sustain them. You know what I'm saying? These are life-saving medicines. These are pretty much essential medicines, man. All right, so let's read on. A pill that will cost $1 will be 7 or 8 in our country, he said, adding that the U.S. is paying 80% more than nations like Germany, Canada, and others for some of the most expensive medicines, identical in all respects. This means that Americans are funding the enormous cost of drug research and developers for the entire planet. See that? We are bearing the entire cost of all of this. They are bearing none. They say that this is what we are going to pay. In some cases, it's a socialist country. So who are paying to reduce drug prices in a socialist country? How does that work? The president said. Under the executive order, Medicare will be required to buy drugs at the same price that other countries pay, Trump said. So that's pretty much it. You know, me personally, I really do hope that President Trump keep his word. I really do hope that this does become a thing, that it does come to pass, because it'll be a huge help, a huge relief for people who have health issues such as diabetes and food allergies. It'll be such a huge relief and help to them. But before that, before I end, let me click to this article real quick. Let me click to this real quick. Uh, let's type in current cost of insulin and see what they say. What it said. Look at that, $500. Insulin in the United States isn't free. In fact, it's remarkably expensive, with some of today's newest varieties costing over $500 for a box of 5 pens, according to Good RX. We're supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like an app that's supposed to help you get medicine at reduced prices or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I'm on $500 for 5 boxes of pens. You know what I'm saying? Neurolog insulin for 100 units, milliliters is around $311 for a supply of 10 milliliters, depending on the pharmacy you visit. This right here shows how expensive these stuff is, man. The price of brand name EpiPen is often out of reach for many patients. However, Mylan now offers authorized generic. Now, see, you're not even getting the good joint. You're getting the generic shit for roughly $150 to $350 for a 2-pack. Who got the money for that type of shit, man? Depending upon the pharmacy and if you use an online coupon. Are you fucking kidding me? Let me Google current price of EpiPens. I'm saying they really beating the citizens in the head. Look at this shit. $630. CVS brand, $630. Look at this. Look at this. Who could afford this stuff? It's a damn abomination, man. Before I go, I'm gonna read this article real quick. It's an article from last year. It says, "Why are insulin prices still so high for U.S. patients?" Nearly a century ago, Dr. Frederick Banting discovered life-saving insulin, but skyrocketing prices are putting the drug out of reach for many he sought the help. The average price of insulin nearly tripled between 2002 and 2013 in the United States, according to American Diabetes Association study. Yet other countries pay significantly less. In fact, Americans pay more than 10 times as much for insulin as Canadians do, according to a commentary published in the November 7th issue of the New England Journal of Medicine. You see that bullshit? Americans pay 10 times for insulin than Canadians do. That is abomination, man. That's what I'm saying. These big pharma companies in the US, they're completely ripping you off, man. They don't care about helping the people. They care about making a profit, making their pockets fat. Insulin in is a flashpoint in the drug pricing debate, and is still an ongoing issue. It's a relatively unique product that will require special solutions because so many people rely on it to ensure they can live day to day. You see that? So many people rely on that stuff, man. Yeah, and the fact that if they don't have it, it could be a difference between life and death. It's really serious with it having insulin. Said commentary co-author Dr. Aaron Kesselheim, a professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. The current cost would no doubt support Canadian scientist Banting. In the 1920s, him and his team sold a patent for insulin to the University of Toronto for $1 each. They felt that the insulin was such an important medication that it needed to be affordable, according to the NEJM commentary. Insulin does not belong to me, it belongs to the world, Banton once said. Today, more than 7 million people in America use insulin. People with type 1 diabetes make little to no insulin, so they must replace the lost hormone through injections or via a tiny tube inserted under their skin and attached to a pump. People with type 2 diabetes still make insulin, but often not enough. Some people with type 2 diabetes also need to use insulin. Again, having insulin is a life or death situation with these people, man. Manufacturers have upper hand. Kesselheim and colleague Dr. Michael Freilich wrote that there are two main reasons why insulin is so expensive now. One is that the U.S. law let pharmaceutical manufacturers set their own prices and raise them without limit. See, that's what I'm saying. These big pharmaceutical companies is greedy as hell, ripping the people off, all because all they care about is making a profit. Same thing with the pharmaceutical companies that deal with EpiPens. Again, I forgot which guy it was. I forgot who it was. I don't know, was it Ben Shapiro or somebody? Once they got into some kind of position or whatever, or what they bought you know, something happened. They did something, and the price of the EpiPens just skyrocket, literally overnight. The second reason the authors noted is that there isn't significant competition in the U.S. insulin market. Price competition typically comes from the introduction of a generic drug that directly competes with a branded product. So, with a life or death thing, all these motherfuckers think about is competition. You see the BS? Well, the author said that current insulin makers have blocked the entry to such product by getting new patents based on things such as delivery device. Kesselheim also noted that insulin is a slightly more complicated molecule, which makes developing a generic version more challenging. He said that the makers of insulin have began selling authorized generics of their brand name products. Eli Lilly and Company is selling a generic version of the branded insulin Humalog for 50% less than brand name products, according to Greg uh, Kurderman, a company spokesperson. So they already let you know that they selling the generic the generic brand of insulin, which is probably less potent. You know what I'm saying? Probably a bullshit brand and a bullshit quality. Clutterman added that Eli Lilly doesn't currently have any patent protected insulins. He said that the company is also capping prices at the pharmacy for people with commercial health insurance and increasing eligibility for free insulin for those with very low incomes. You know, I'm gonna stop right there. The rest you can read. Most are willing, I'll post this article in the, the link in the video. But I'm just going back to the main, thread. President Trump signed 4 executive orders that would dramatically drop down the price of insulin and EpiPens, will eliminate the middleman so they won't feel the need to jack the prices up OD sky high for low income folks who may not have, you know, the money to pay for these overly inflated products where Canada, Mexico, Germany, etc., is selling the same medicine, same brand, same product, same ingredients, same company, same packaging for much less. You know what I'm saying? I just hope that you know it does come to pass. I do hope that President Trump wasn't just talking a good game. I really hope this does come to pass because this would be a very huge help for our people out there with diabetes and food allergies or any kind of allergies where they need the EpiPens. But that's just it. Well, what do you guys think? Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm highly contemplating creating doing a series on why I personally believe President Donald Trump is one of the greatest American presidents ever. And if I do, if I was to do those series, number one, it'll probably be for Patreon only because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be brought out that's too heavy for YouTube. And number two, this podcast will probably be the unofficially first entry into that series. So that's just it. What do you guys think about this? This is your brother Shamal Kassad signing off, saying shalom, and most God bless you guys. Shalom.